everybody, and welcome back to Coffee with Craig. We appreciate you guys joining us on this Labor Day morning. What better day to celebrate Labor Day than at work? Okay, there's probably better ways to celebrate it, but being at work is probably a little bit more appropriate. So I am here. Hopefully, you're at home, relaxing, chilling, enjoying the day off, getting your grill on today, or just having a nice cup of coffee and enjoying the day. Please remember to like and share these videos. Let your friends know about the Firearms Policy Coalition. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us on all of the various different podcasts. Wherever you listen to podcasts, I'm sure we're probably there. And also, please remember to visit fpcgear.com. That's fpcgear.com. Know that every penny that you spend there goes right back into the fight for our civil rights. Support the Second Amendment and look good doing it. That's fpcgear.com. All right. Well, we all know the legislative session in California ended on Friday at midnight. The end of the second year of a 2-year term or of a session. There's a hard deadline, and it is midnight on the last day of the month. So we all know what legislation made its way to Governor Jerry Brown and what legislation did not. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a legislative update, kind of give you guys kind of a blow-by-blow of what went down during this legislative session so that you guys have an idea of everything that happened. Now, contrary to popular belief, it is possible to kill bad bills in the state of California. It's not always probable, not always possible, but, in this case, in the number of bills, it actually was possible. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to tout some of our legislative victories. One of the first ones I want to mention is Assembly Bill 1945. This was by Assemblymember Santiago, which would have redefined flamethrowers in order to make them, in order to make basically a blowtorch considered to be a weapon. And I realize it's not a huge thing because I don't know. I don't own a blowtorch. I do not own a blowtorch, but maybe you do. In any case, the whole point behind this was it was an example of Santiago and his every single time someone says something in social media, he loses his mind. He has no idea what he's talking about, but he decides, hey, this sounds like a good idea, so they introduced it into a bill, and even his fellow legislators said, yeah, that was a stupid idea. Then there was Senate Bill 1099. This was by Republican John Morlock. This is a bill that would have prohibited people from being able to do things like carry signs with posts or sticks that were too big. It would have eliminated the ability to have water bottles or whatnot at protests. But most importantly, and the reason why we opposed the measure was it would have prohibited concealed carry permit holders from being able to exercise their constitutional right, as well as the right that they've gone through the process, taken all the tests, done everything, but it would have eliminated their ability to be able to conceal carry while at a rally or a protest. And we just felt like the senator wasn't willing to put in an exemption, or at least he didn't. He at no point put in an exemption. And so we had to oppose the measure, and needless to say, the measure died. We also had Assembly Bill 3199 by Assemblyman Holden, which would have banned gun raffles. It would have basically banned the ability for any of you who've ever gone to Friends of the NRA or have gone to California Gun Owners events, or even a number of different events like 4-H even does these raffles where they raffle off a firearm. They tend to be very, very popular, and they tend to be a good way for pro-Second Amendment organizations to be able to raise money. And he wanted to ban the ability to do that, and, let's just say that bill failed. Also, there was Assembly Bill 2497, the ammo tax. That was by Assemblyman Cooper. That bill was summarily killed. That's a really big one because I have a feeling we're going to see that one. They're going to try and bring that one back again. Well, he tried to call it a fee, but in actuality, it was a tax because he realized he didn't have the votes for a tax. So you can look forward to seeing that one come back again, in particular if Democrats are able to re-secure a 2/3 majority in both houses of the California state legislature. You can pretty much see a gun and ammo tax that's going to be coming back. Then there was Assembly Bill 3, which would have prohibited those under the age of 21 from being able to purchase a firearm in the state of California. Now, this was one version of a bill of another measure, and we'll talk about what happened to that other measure a little bit later. Then there was, and this was probably one of the most egregious ones, Assemblyman Gibson's 2382. Now, this would have, in essence, regulated firearm parts. It would have required you to get a background check in order to be able to, and it would have treated it just like ammunition or firearms. And so you would have had to get a background check. You would be prohibited. I mean, there were tons of really bad things with this particular bill, and it's based on a system, the ammo system, which we don't even know how it's going to be implemented yet. We don't even know how the background check system is going to be implemented, or how exactly it's going to work, because we haven't seen the regs on it yet. And then finally, there was Assembly Bill 3064, which would have expanded the crimes and penalties, which expanded crimes and penalties, which would have made it more likely for you to be prohibited. And once again, that was a bill by another Republican, Catherine Baker. So those are some of these successes that we had. Oh, here's another one, Assembly Bill 1982, which dealt with outdoor advertising and firearms, would have prohibited it in certain cases. We're so glad that bill failed as well. Oh, man, I got to keep going down the list here. Senate Bill 459 by Portantino. This is a measure that would have made it so that it would have divested all CalPERS and CalSTRS money. It would have required them to divest from anybody related to firearms or firearms manufacturing, which would have meant a whole lot of companies. So those of you who are PERS and STRS folks, I mean, even if you have anything to do with if the company had anything to do with firearms, they would have had to divest from them. It would have seriously affected your potential retirement. Anyway. Okay, so those are the bills that we were successful in killing. Some of them were some doozies. So I think hats off to each and every one of you who participated, who sent an email, who made a phone call, who sent a letter, who showed up to committee to testify. You guys made a difference. And so thank you. But the fight is not over yet, because there are a number of bills that made it to the governor's desk. And while I'm not going to highlight them all, I do want to hit you to the big ones. The first one, Senate Bill 1100. I told you about AB 3 earlier that failed. The one dealing with those under the age of 21. Well, SB 1100, this is Senator Portantino's bill. That bill actually did make it out of the legislature, is currently enrolling and engrossing, and will be on its way to the governor. So that's a bill that we still need to fight to kill. Portantino also has another bill, Senate Bill 1177. This would restrict you to one long gun every 30 days unless you have a hunting license. There were a couple of other exemptions, but other than that, it just limits you to being able to purchase one long gun every 30 days, which, come on, folks, we're talking about rationing a civil right. Now, the governor has already vetoed this idea once. Let's remind him, please veto it again. Please veto this bill again. We have to get him to veto it again. We have Assembly Bill 2888, which expands gun violence restraining orders. Folks, this is a very important one. This is one that would expand the ability for someone to be able to go to a judge and have your rights taken away without you even being there. Right now, only close family and law enforcement can do it. This would expand it to coworkers, anyone who is your teacher within the last 6 months, people with whom you go to school. It is a really, really bad bill and a serious violation. You just heard me talk about last week in Florida when they have it expanded this broadly, and guess what? They had like 450 in the first 2 months. In some cases, it was just people who posted something objectionable online, and they went after them, and they had their firearms taken away. So, folks, we've got to stand against this one. That's Assembly Bill 2888. We also have Senate Bill 221. This is by Senator Scott Wiener. This is a bad bill in that it basically would ban firearm sales at the Cow Palace, and is literally one of the first times that the state is stepping in and saying, we are going to ban the ability for people to exercise in the constitutional right. We're going to ban the ability for you to be able to buy a firearm. So we don't care. You can own one, but you're not going to be able to buy one. And then keep in mind, Senator Weiner, the mayor of Daly City, these folks have already admitted that they're passing laws and rules to shut down every gun store in the city of San Francisco and eventually in the city in Daly City. That's what they're trying to do. And if that's what they're trying to do, this is, for many, this is the only way in which they can be able to go and buy firearms and ammunition in order to be able to exercise their constitutional right. And these guys are trying to shut it down. So please, we need to make sure that we kill that we kill that bill. Some of the other bills that have passed. Senator Jackson's bump stock ban. Once again, it's a better definition than many of the states have had, but it's still a very, very bad definition of what a multi-burst trigger device is. Quite frankly, the Attorney General already said these were already illegal, so I'm wondering why we need this bill. But that's a bill that's recently passed. We have a bill by Assemblymember Gloria. That's Assembly Bill 2103. This expands the requirements in terms of instruction and testing for concealed carry permit holders. Once again, this is a bill that we really need to stand up against. There's not been a problem with concealed carry permit holders in the state of California. I don't know why we need to fix something that's not broken. All right, two other bills that I wanted to make sure that I let you know about. One is 1903, which would prohibit the ability to give away gift cards to FFLs at gun buybacks. I don't go to gun buybacks, so I don't know that I'm going to be interested in getting anything from an FFL that's participating in a gun buyback. This is basically a bill aimed at Walmart. And since Walmart decided that they really don't believe in the Second Amendment, I don't know that that's really a big deal anyway. But we just don't believe that the government should be in the business of picking winners and losers when it comes to civil rights. And then finally, Assembly Bill 1968. Now, this was a bill that I'll be honest, we went back and forth on because it started off at one point. It was a bill that said that if you are committed twice within a 5-year period, if you are involuntarily committed to for mental health issues within a 5-year period, you permanently lose your right to keep and bear arms. Then, well, I'm going to clarify. First, it was twice within 1 year. Then it was twice within 5 years, and now it's just if you're committed even once, you lose your gun rights forever. We just believe that there are people out there who, first of all, not all mental illness leads to violence or violent tendencies. The other thing is that many times, many of us go through challenges or issues and have a hard time, and it doesn't mean that you should lose your rights forever, and that's the issue that we have here. Is this basically would be a lifetime ban, and then there's a measure that actually this is a Rubio Bill 3129, which in essence for a non-violent, there's no such thing as a non-violent domestic misdemeanor. Domestic violence misdemeanors would be a lifetime prohibiting offense in the state of California. I think anything that causes you to lose your rights permanently should be a felony. That does not mean that domestic violence is not horrible. I honestly, the whole point, I believe, once again, I'm no lawyer, but I believe that the whole point of misdemeanor domestic violence is to get someone who you can't get to plead to felony domestic violence. You offer them the plea of a misdemeanor. Well, you know what? If it's that serious, then you need to take them to court. It should be a felony. Felonies are what should be prohibiting, not misdemeanors. And so, therefore, we oppose that measure. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a breakdown of what went on in the state of California during this legislative session. There's still a lot of work to do. There are a list of bills that you'll find on our website, firearmspolicycoalition.org. I don't know what I'm saying. firearmspolicycoalition.org /actions. Look for California. You'll see a list of the bills that are there that are on the governor's desk. Please help us by making sure that you let folks know that they need to fight against these bills. Anyway, folks, that's going to be it for today's Coffee with Craig. So much appreciate you guys tuning in and being a part of the fight for our civil rights. Remember, we have got to use them or we will lose them. You guys take care.
If you like our videos, follow, subscribe, like, and share.